Good morning and welcome to the Media Speaks Live Saturday morning news show. I'm D-Lake for Prez. I'm joined this morning by Sam, IB DeGanji, Sam with the correct views, and the band passing time, Samuel.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Saturday edition.
Awesome, great, Sam. We're also joined by Kyle Phillips of the Media Speaks KP. How are you doing?
Wonderful, D-Lake. Wonderful.
Awesome. Guys, did you get a chance to watch the debates that happened on Thursday night on Fox News, Fox Network?
I did watch them.
I've seen parts of it. I don't know if Kyle will agree with this. I think Rand is making a mistake. Rather than attack the very popular frontrunner, I think maybe the attack on Christie was kind of cool because let's face it, nobody's really rooting for Christie. But I think attacking Trump was an idea. It was a bad idea, I should say, because it would be better for him to have said, instead of saying, oh, you bought and sold politicians, he should be saying, you've got Donald Trump out here saying he wants to simplify the tax code.
All right, Sam.
That's something him and his family have wanted to do their whole life. If anybody knows about bringing the tax code down, it's me. He should have said, you know what, the immigration thing that Trump is saying, you know what, we agree on that. But I think I could do a better job by blah, 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 blah. I think what Rand did, and I'm rooting for Rand in this, was a huge mistake. I just watched it before we went live. Huge mistake.
Okay, Sam, before we get too engrossed,
right onto the Rand.
But before we get too engrossed in all our personal picks and get down to the specifics of what happened, let me just go back to the general statement of the fact that it was on Fox. It was they had two debates actually. They had the primetime top 10 in the polls on the stage for the primetime show. Then they had the remaining 7 candidates because there's 17 people running for the Republicans right now in an earlier debate that happened earlier in the day. The general consensus was that Carly Fiorina was the overwhelming winner in the earlier debates. In the second debates, it started out Donald Trump was center stage as the #1 leading frontrunner in the polls. Bush was 2. Scott Walker, I think, was 3. It spread out along the stage. Who else was on the stage? Huckabee, Ben Carson. You had
Scott Walker.
Yeah, Scott Walker, Kasich, Paul, Christie, and I think I'm missing someone.
You say Ted Cruz?
And Ted Cruz, there you go. And Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio, yeah.
All right, so let's go back to you, Sam. Who do you think won that second debate, the primetime debate? Who would you say was the big winner? And then maybe give us your top 5.
The big winner was Carly, who I have been reading about non-stop since the debates. She set it on fire, and I won't be surprised if you find her on the main stage the next time. She was, in my opinion, the big winner. I will admit I'm not a flawless commentator. I have all but ignored this woman, and she is taking off. I think she was the winner. People liked her.
She seemed to be everyone's overwhelming choice in that first debate, and I agree that she'll most likely get advanced to the varsity team, and one of those goons that was on the stage will probably be out of there. Kyle, who do you think excelled? Maybe give us your top 3, top 5. Who do you think will be off the stage next time if there's only 10 to make room for Carly?
Well, I'm kind of looking at this debate, like when I was watching it, you have to watch it in 2 ways, like 2 kind of sets of eyes. One set of eyes is like
way and the entertainment way.
Well, like who do I like and who's the person I'd like to see on that stage, but then like kind of look at it from like Joe Everyman who doesn't really follow politics and like is just like the debates are on. I'm gonna watch just like who won the debate, like I think like just solely for the debate and yes, like the entertainment section of it. And like, who did I like, and who did I like what they said?
Great, that's a great ways to look at it. I want to hear your opinions on both ways that you're viewing it. But just real quickly, I mean, how awesome do you think it was that Fox shattered all kinds of records for a non-sporting event viewership with over 24 million people watching? Could a lot of that be attributed to Trump?
Was almost triple that, so.
What was that? Say again.
The finale of MASH, I think, was over 60 million. So let's not get too crazy.
My dad treated that like a national holiday when that happened. We had to base
Well,
our
for a
whole
political debate, it shattered those records. But
Was I the only one who was kind of creeped out by it? Like, it reminded me of the Hunger Games a little bit. You know how like they'd have the people come out on stage with like a ton of makeup and like they're smiling and saying what the people want to hear. Megyn Kelly, I think, is an alien.
on
She's
the
just
cover of
not
the
even
Drudge,
a real person.
on the cover of the Drudge Report this morning, the top headline is "Bad Blood," and it has a picture of the Donald and Megyn Kelly who were getting into it in a Twitter war and comments going back and forth after the debate. She was obviously assigned to go after Trump strong.
Oh yeah.
She asks him a question like, "Okay, so you've been known to call women dogs and fat pigs and slobs," and he responds, "Only Rosie O'Donnell." Got a huge, giant applause on that line. He went on to say he doesn't have time for political correctness. Republicans love to hear that. They're all political correctness. Yeah, keep it going.
Donald Trump was definitely like not in like in his ideology, but in like what he did to that stage. He was like the Ross Perot of that debate. Like he like was the one guy up there who's not just saying, you know, the thing that he thinks the highest percentage of Americans are going to agree with and being very careful about the wording. He was just saying what he was going to say. But I mean, as far as who won the debate, I hate to say it, but I mean, as far as like debate style and who did the best like stage present wise, I gotta say it was probably Jeb Bush and Chris Christie. I hate to say it. I didn't want them to do well, but I felt like they did do well.
I think the biggest boo, though, that Trump got was sort of a win as well, because he has gained a lot of respect. I think he gained more respect from independents, maybe even Democrats, and libertarians, people of that ilk, because he would not capitulate and say that he would support whoever the Republican was. There are people up on that stage he wasn't going to support no matter what.
I'm surprised Rand went after him for it. I'm surprised because I almost thought Rand might be somebody with his hand up.
Yeah, that bummed a lot of people out. It also implies that he'll like keep lapdogging for the Republicans like his dad did for way too long.
If Chris Christie gets the nomination, he's going to support him or Jeb Bush. Like,
yeah, he should have just said, "Well, I supported Mitt Romney, didn't I? And I'm still a Republican." So
that's awful. That kills any hope of Rand. And I really don't think Rand's running all that great of a campaign. But I think that Trump
he's running a terrible campaign from what I've been reading. He doesn't. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but he doesn't want to court the big donors.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, but he's not advertising that. He's out there on the Planned Parenthood thing, and if you're repulsed by it, fine. But to make that a focal point at such an important time, I think, took away from what Trump was saying with taxes, and he put all that time into the chainsaw commercial and then started focusing on Planned Parenthood. It was just not a good time. As it stands, it looks like it's Trump's to lose. It really does.
Well, do you think that Trump was a big loser on that night? Who were the big losers? I mean, who just didn't do well? I mean, no one said anything about Rubio. I had two friends say they thought Rubio did a good job, and I'm like, you guys are seeing something I didn't see. But
that's what they said at first when I was reading, but then that rumor died out real quick.
You know who's
I haven't heard about Huckabee, anything about him at all, so he didn't stick in anybody's head. I kind of like the guy, but he didn't stick in anyone's head.
You know who's really, really rooting for Scott Walker is Stephen Baldwin, so that he can play him in the Lifetime movie.
Stephen Walker is another name.
Yeah.
No, I felt like
Jamie Foxx wants Ben Carson and who else? No, I hear you. That's pretty funny.
Ben Carson, I think he doesn't seem like the best public speaker, but I think he made the best points. He
did make some really good points.
Like he said at one point, he's like, I think we need to solve our problems using intelligence. It's like, yeah, I'm all right with this guy, the brain surgeon. I don't know if you saw the meme I made where I made Ben Carson into a zombie and it says, I don't see skin color, I see brains.
Yeah, you made that.
Yeah, I know that he had said
Brains.
The only one to allow for. He's the only person on the stage to have separated Siamese twins. That was a good quote.
Yeah, and then Chris Christie's like, I'm the only one to eat 3 hoagies in one sitting.
Well, Ben Carson in his closing statements, he said, I'm going to talk about being the only one to do something. I'm the only one that separated Siamese twins. I'm the only one that's operated on a fetus still in the womb. I'm the only one on stage that's removed half a brain. But if you've ever been to Washington, D.C., you think that someone beat me to it. That got a huge round of applause. You have to be kind of funny. Now, at one point, Donald Trump was making a point answering the question. Rand Paul chimed in, oh, you're still for a single payer, which is the exact opposite of what Trump just said. And then Trump's like, I guess you didn't hear me. You're having a hard time tonight. And that shut him down big time. And then I was reading the next day that that was extra insensitive of Trump because Rand Paul wears hearing aids. I don't think that he was attacking him for not hearing him with a hearing aid.
No, I even put down in the Rand Paul Facebook room right before I went live. I was like, I'm supporting Rand still, but that's a stretch. It goes back to just.
You know what the worst
is? Jesse Benting running this campaign? Do either of you know?
I don't know who's running this
campaign. I heard him comment on it, but I don't believe he is involved.
Because Benton did such a horrible job with his father.
While we're talking about like Rand's mess-ups, though, the biggest mess-up, I'm sorry, that he had the entire night was when him and Chris Christie went head-to-head on NSA spying. And Chris Christie used a really shitty tactic, in my opinion, which is to just, like, throw emotion at him, like, well, hugging, dead soldiers' wives, and, like, that's like a cheap move to try and pull on people's heartstrings.
Oh, he invoked 9/11, and Rand Paul rolled his eyes when he did that.
Yeah, he rolled his eyes, and, like, what Rand Paul doesn't understand is, like, a lot of people who aren't going to see through what Chris Christie just did just saw you rolling your eyes at him. Like, that was a bad move.
He scored points when he said, I've seen you hug the president, why don't you go hug him again? Then he says, oh, I hugged him just, the hugs I remember, Chris Christie says, is the hugs I gave people that lost families on 9/11. And then they panned to...
That's such a shitty move.
Panned to Rand Paul, who does an eyeball roll. It's like, dude, you got to keep your composure in the face of, like, anything they say.
Yeah, that was in my opinion, when he did that, I was like, ugh, no. A lot of those people don't have a chance against Hillary Clinton, though, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to say whether they're... going to advance with the Republicans, but Scott Walker and Mike Huckabee, they don't stand a chance.
I don't know why Huckabee hasn't caught on more. He's he's not perfect, but he's reasonable. He's a
fundamentalist Baptist, and like that's not going. Too many people won't vote for that. It's just as simple as that.
I think Huckabee did reasonably well. I mean, his answers were probably more. Well, Rubio and Huckabee and Ted Cruz, they all kind of had more canned answers. They didn't seem to open up and be as loose and free-flowing with their speech as the other guys were. I think as the field winnows down a little bit, though those styles might become a little bit more impressive, especially up against Bush. Kyle, you were talking about who can beat Hillary Clinton. There's been a lot of talk before the debate and this past week. Even our co-reporter Anthony Court put it out there. Paul Joseph Watson was talking about Donald Trump is a plant. He's for Hillary Clinton. I mean, to me, that's making a lot of assumptions. It seems like there's way too many variables. Then what's the plan for him to ruin the Republican Party with his big mouth and then let Hillary skate in? Who says Hillary's going to get the nomination? And also, I mean, to whose benefit would that be? He's not going to do it for money. He's super rich.
Yeah,
he's not going to do it to destroy America. He wants to make it better. So, I mean, do you find it plausible?
Trump's a guy who puts his name on water bottles. He really thinks he can win. Like, it's as simple as that, I think.
So, is he in it to win it for himself, or is he a plant for Hillary Clinton, and somehow it's going to manage to steer the whole race towards a Hillary Clinton win? I just don't understand how people think that would work.
Yeah, I don't buy it.
I think he wants to win. I don't think that he will win, but I think he wants to win. I think the celebrity factor is too much. Like, people might like watch him and like him in the debates and stuff, but when it really comes time to vote for a president, people are not going to vote for Donald Trump.
So is it a matter of who can stay the closest to him without getting their toe stepped on and just sort of flying under the radar, like maybe like Bush, who's
If it's Bush versus Clinton, I don't even know.
I mean, so well, what if Trump is actually a plant for Bush to do just that? I mean,
yeah, it's possible. I mean, the only people on that stage who I think could have a chance of beating Hillary would be Ben Carson. Rand Paul, I think, has a chance of it. I don't think Ted Cruz does. Maybe he's close. And then actually, what's his name? That's the governor of Ohio wasn't half bad. I think he did
Kasich
pretty
did
well.
good.
Yeah.
Kasich was in my top five. My top five. Let me see. I was having a conversation with my friend. My top five was Trump, Kasich, Carson. Who else did I say? I think I said Cruz. And yeah, Trump, Carson, Cruz, Kasich, and I said Rand Paul. I personally thought that Rand Paul kind of did win that exchange with Christie when he was saying, use the Fourth Amendment, get a warrant. I thought those were good points, but you are right, Kyle. Maybe you persuaded me otherwise, but I can't give anything to Chris Christie.
Well, no, like on a personal level, no, but like I look at it from like the average Republican that was sitting in that room, like sitting at home watching it. Like
Yeah, that's where you got me.
A lot of people think Chris Christie won that. Sadly.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, and plus, I mean, I'm glad we're able to have an open, honest discussion. None of us here is a diehard for any one particular candidate, where everything you say is wrong and everything I say is right.
Yeah.
We're having a frank, open, honest discussion. I think that's healthy. I mean, I think I would have done a good job on that debate stage, to tell you the truth. But that's
I mean, I will say like Fox was surprisingly like there were some things they didn't bring up and there are problems that I had with them. But they started off like right off the bat. They're like, we're gonna ask each of you the question that you don't want us to ask you, is how it seemed like they started it.
And did you think that was a good style? How do you think that the moderators did, Kyle? I mean, like I said, today's top headline is bad blood between Trump and Megyn Kelly. A lot of people are saying that she was just kind of a vicious bitch, or
she seemed alien-y. I don't know. We kept saying that as we were watching it, like she's a robot or something. But
giant fake eyelashes.
Fox, I don't know, like, and maybe I come from a biased perspective, but Fox went really heavy on like Christian-y questions, and that's what's going to lose the Republicans this election. Like, I'm sorry, it just is. Like, people are like freaked out by that. Like, when you have a candidate who says that abortion should be illegal even in cases of rape and incest, that person isn't going to win the election. Like, so they went really heavy. Like, they even like they had more questions about like protecting Christians' rights to not like. What was the one question they had? Like their right to like not support. I think it was like gay people or something, but they didn't like.
Oh, yeah.
That's not how you're gonna win this election. Like you're gonna lose that way. Like
yeah,
you're gonna
didn't a lot of the
you're gonna get 100% of the you're gonna get 100% of the Christians, but that's not enough to win. It's just not anymore.
Did a lot of the questions seem democratic leaning to you, or liberal questions?
It seemed like there were a lot of questions that were like leaning towards like that entire debate was like, how are you going to beat Hillary? And that seemed to be their focus. But the secondary focus to me seemed to be, how are you going to get like the evangelical right? And I think that's like a bad way to go about it. You're going to lose that way. That's just my opinion.
Sam, go ahead.
I think it's important. I think there's a lot of people that aren't happy that the federal government has played such a huge role in marriage. I'm definitely one of those people. I don't care who gets married as long as the church doesn't have to do it.
Yeah. That's where most people
I don't care who gets a sex change operation as long as I don't have to pay for it. But I think there's a lot of people like me that would be interested in voting for somebody that would like to. Well, again, I would like to get the government out of marriage more than I would like to go about the business of defining marriage.
And that's pretty much what Rand Paul said, and I think that he was really, really smart in doing so. But Sam, I think you're where most Americans are. You don't hate gay people. You just like, obviously, if a church doesn't want to do the ceremony, that's their right. Like, you don't care if somebody wants to be transgender as
But
long
they're
as, like,
losing that. That's what I mean. It's the Republicans that are at least trying to make sure that you don't have to bake somebody a cake if you don't want to bake somebody a cake.
well, no, but like the debate seemed heavily focused on like fundamentalist ideas. Like Scott Walker got an entire chance to do a little rant about why there's no time that an abortion should be done. Well, most Americans disagree with you on that, Scott Walker. When it comes down to it, those are the issues that people are looking at for some reason. I don't know why, but it is. 'Cause I think it's secondary, honestly. But like, that's going to lose you the election. People will vote for Hillary because you said that.
I would hope that they wouldn't be that much of a one-issue voter. As far as, I mean, you've got your extremes on both sides. I know they're out there,
For
but
sure, yeah.
I would definitely hope not.
I don't want to vote for somebody who wants abortions at 7 months either.
Like,
know,
I'm really against Trump's stand on Snowden and whistleblowing, but I'm not going to one-issue vote the guy. I was also against if he even so much as if he sneezes and it sounds like the word Oprah, he will lose my vote.
He already
Donald Trump has been banned. Banned Donald Trump says, I was talking about Megyn Kelly's nose. Tycoon declares war on politically correct fools who kicked him out of GOP conference for his sexist attack on Fox host.
Her nose? What?
Trump made remarks about Kelly in a CNN interview over the GOP debate. Frontrunner declared there was blood coming out of her, whatever. Comment was widely interpreted as a reference to the menstrual cycle. Blogger Eric Erickson banned Trump from major red state gathering. The high-profile event is taking place in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, today. But now Trump has lashed out, calling critics politically correct fools. He claimed on Twitter that he was referring to blood from Kelly's nose. I didn't see any blood coming from her nose. His campaign said in a release, only a deviant would think something else. Oh, get your mind out of the gutter. It's called Erickson. It called Erickson pathetic. The tweet did, and said being disinvited was an honor. So those are just the bullet points to the story. But if you've ever been on dailymail.co.uk, you can read the bullet points and get the whole story pretty much. So there it is.
He was like
her nose.
I don't know. He said she was bleeding from her whatever, and I mean, he meant nose, and you thought he meant vagina. I don't know what to tell you.
What does that even mean? And like, if you were referring to her nose, I'm
that
confused.
She's a coke addict? I don't know.
Maybe saying that she does coke.
You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her whatever. He meant nose. Oh, okay. But why? Just because she was being so vicious? She was like a demon or something? I don't really know. But forget about that. Who cares? I mean, Trump's going to continue to say outrageous stuff, and people are going to continue to take it all kinds of different ways. Like I said earlier, when he said you're having a hard time, I guess you didn't hear me, you're having a hard time tonight to Rand Paul. People interpret that as him making fun of the fact that Rand Paul wears hearing aids. Earlier in his campaign, he said Charles Krauthammer just sits around and talks a bunch of shit. Charles Krauthammer's in a wheelchair, and so they think that he was in a wheelchair. So it's just
everything he says, they take it to the worst.
To be fair, listeners, I thought that the hearing aid was a stretch, but the bleeding out of the nose.
Yeah,
he's lying. He's lying.
Well, he said she was bleeding out of her eyes and bleeding out of her whatever. I guess at the time he said it, he couldn't think of the word nose. I don't know.
Yeah, that was definitely a menstrual cycle joke.
We need to clarify it with eyes first. That helps a little, I guess.
Yeah, a little. The nose is closer to the eyes than anything else. But Kyle, I didn't hear you mention anything about the first debate. Did you have anything to say about that?
I didn't watch it. I didn't even bother.
You're familiar with Carly Fiorina, though? We've talked about her once or twise.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's like none of those people are going to advance. You
know what? Let her keep climbing, and I wouldn't. I'm not going to predict that she will be, but I'm going to say there's a likelihood you'll see her on that next stage. She blew up.
Yeah, Rick Perry, Rick Santorum.
Who's going to be at
Bobby Jindal. And
Who's
the
going to
new
be at the
guy,
Democratic debate? Is it just going to be
Lindsey Graham.
Hillary Clinton and some sock puppets?
Lindsey,
Sanders.
Lindsey Graham answered every question with, "We need to send 20,000 troops to Iraq and Syria." They're like, "How do you feel about abortion?" He's like, "Send more troops to Iraq and Syria." Like a warmonger.
That won't win you an election.
Yeah, that's not going to win.
So
All
who's
right.
debating Hillary Clinton? Just nobody? They're just going to have her on stage and be like,
Sanders.
Hillary, tell us.
They keep
tell us
pushing it
stories.
back. They keep pushing it back, and the DNC is releasing a bunch of rules saying they're only going to have 6 sanctioned debates. And if any of the candidates do an unsanctioned debate, they'll be banned from the sanctioned debates. They're only going to have 6 as opposed to the Republicans like 10. But there's Bernie Sanders, Martin O'Malley, Webb, Chaffee, or whatever that guy's name is, and Clinton. And Martin O'Malley this week was saying the debate structure is just handing it to Clinton practically, or at least it's setting her up to do the best.
So
But,
it's like a fake debate. A ton of people we've never heard of against the person we all know.
Yeah, against the one we all know. And Bernie Sanders with his crazy socialist rhetoric. But do you think that – do you guys have any thoughts about Hillary Clinton actually being in jail before she has this opportunity? Or at least being fined and having her – she can't be president if she has her security clearance revoked. And you know that judges have issued that Cheryl Mills, Abedin, and Hillary Clinton have to testify under penalty of perjury that they've given all the material, handed over all the documents and emails and stuff.
I don't think.
And they have to go on the record about Hillary's private server. I mean, listen to Judge Napolitano or someone else that's smart about case law and all this other stuff. Listen to Trey Gowdy. I mean, that's the question. Do you think Hillary Clinton might be in jail or, you know?
No.
Yeah.
I just know better.
You know how the world works. You live in reality. You don't live in a fantasy land like I do where these people go to fucking jail.
Yeah, that's not going to – let's be real. That's not going to happen. I don't know.
You know what, though? If the government wanted to pretend that they were not favoring the rich, the most brilliant maneuver they could do would be to bust Hillary, because for the next 25 years you would hear, you can trust the government. Look, they even busted Hillary. They would be able to use that as their ace card for the next quarter of a freaking century.
And then Jeb Bush wins by a landslide. He elects Chris Christie as VP.
And they would be able to use that forever.
Chris Christie
and I'm
turns
the one that lives in Fantasyland.
Chris Christie turns he elects Secretary of State Krispy Kreme donuts.
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. If the New World Order was smart, that'd be the most brilliant move they could possibly make.
That does sound pretty good.
Throw Hillary under the bus for 25 years of the New World Order is fake, and there you go.
It's not a bad idea now that I think about it.
I doubt it though. I can't see
still
Hillary.
Still kind of in the doubt category. A few things you wanted to talk about today, Sam. Obama set to announce steeper emissions cuts from U.S. power plants. Do you want to get into that?
Yes, this is going to be a nightmare. I saw it on Fox News. For one thing, it's going to lead to people saying that nuclear is a good idea and that we need to keep going ahead and subsidizing nuclear. And they're doing all of this in the name of global warming, which we know that the planet has not warmed in 18 years. One of my sources for that is Lord Monckton. President Obama will impose steeper cuts, it says, on greenhouse gas emissions from power plants across the country than previously expected, senior administration officials said Sunday, in what the president called the most significant step the U.S. has ever taken to fight global warming. And he's trying to push this through, friends, while gas is a little bit lower. And he's aiming to do it so that when the taxes or any kind of increase goes up against gas, it'll look like it didn't really cost much. And then when gas goes back up, you're going to be getting it from both sides. You're going to get reamed. It's a second idea. This is bad. The Obama administration is expected to finalize the rule at a White House event on the Monday, a year after proposing unprecedented carbon tax limits. Obama, in a video posted on Facebook, said the limits were backed by decades of facts showing that without tough action, the world will face extreme weather and escalating health problems like asthma. Now, the problem with this is he's somewhat right on the asthma issue. But do you know what else is worse than asthma? Pneumonia, which is what you get when you can't afford to warm your house, which is the kind of thing you'll be looking at with this. You got to remember the last time a president had some brilliant idea like this, it was when everybody was reading about $500, $600, $700 gas bills, just a handful of years ago. Well, now Obama's going to do it again. And it says climate change is not a problem for another generation. Not anymore, according to him. So the idea is to use the lie of global warming to further an agenda that raises taxes on energy producers and prevents coal plants from opening so that the government can be in charge of it. Now, who do you trust? Who do you trust more? Do you like, Kyle, the rich, greedy, private investor like Donald Trump that might want to open a power plant, or rich, evil Dick Cheney to run it from the government?
See, I don't understand why, like, if you want to try and help move us away from fossil fuels and onto better energy, I'm all for that. But every time that they say they're going to do it, all they talk about is new taxes. Like, if you were talking about we're going to eliminate coal power plants, but we're going to give a shit ton of money to Sun City, Elon Musk company, to, like, open solar farms in Nevada, I'd be like, all right, fucking A, like, that makes sense. But they don't do that. They're just like, we're going to make the energy that we do have harder to get.
Yes, and it said it's going to, the administration said the emission limits will cost up to $8.8 billion annually by 2030, though it says those costs will be outweighed by health savings and fewer asthma attacks and other benefits. This is $8.8 billion. So if you have asthma and you're listening to this, you are not being helped here. They are charging you a fortune in taxes, and you are not going to be able to properly warm your house. You may not be able to maybe get your medicine because you're warming your house. This is not a favor to you. That $8.8 billion in taxes is paid by you, the taxpayer.
And the U.S. government is already the #1 beneficiary of gasoline profit. When you pump gasoline, it's like 2 cents goes to the gas station, about, I think it's like 10 cents goes to the company, the distributor, 10 cents goes to the oil company, and 50 cents a gallon goes to the government. So they're already the #1 profiter.
Thankfully, it says in Congress, lawmakers have sought to use legislation to stop Obama's regulation. And McConnell has tried previously to use an obscure, rarely successful maneuver under the Congressional Review Act to allow Congress to vote it down. It's very important that we let the politicians who are fighting this know that, at least on this issue, even if you don't like the politician, let them know that they're doing a good job. It says the more serious threat to Obama's rule will likely come from the courts. The Electric Reliability Coordinating Council represents energy companies in 20 to 30 states. Friends, this is bad all the way around. Anytime you hear that anything is for the children or for the environment, just know that you're about to get absolutely.
But Sam, let me ask you this: if they were to say, let's say that Obama was to say tomorrow that they're going to put an extra 10-cent tax on every gallon of gasoline sold in the United States. 5 cents of that 10 cents is going to go directly towards clean energy production, and the other 5 cents is going to go towards subsidies for electric cars. See, like something like that, I'd be for. I'd be totally for that. But that, like, they don't do that. They just take more money out of the system and don't really help anything. Like, if they did that, would you be like more like, yeah, okay, at least that makes sense? Like.
I don't know, because the government crashed Solandra. I'd rather a private company did it. I don't think the answer lies in government. I think and when it does, it's going to be expensive and cumbersome. I don't trust it.
All right, Sam, do you feel that this is something that should have been brought up on the debate stage on Thursday night?
It would have been a lot more important than whether or not Donald Trump is going to run as a libertarian or an independent. Yeah, I would say so.
All right, let's say that you were on that stage and you were asked questions about the emissions, the carbon emissions, and Obama's plan to announce steeper emissions cuts from U.S. power plants. If you want to give us your closing statement, you have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, I have I have a toolbox with one hammer in it. And I use it to fix everything. I think it should be up to the states to decide what they want their emission levels to be, how much taxes they want to pay. I think everything. It's like my one answer to everything. Go back to the states repeatedly. They're the ones paying it. They're the ones that have the economies based on it, and we need to quit basing it on the lie of global warming. And Obama was half right. Use the asthma statistics, this, that, and the other. But those aren't going to be the same in every state because some states don't have coal plants in heavily populated areas, and some do. So to put a blanket federal tax over all of them is to lose the individual reasons that each state would want them to be different.
All right, just under time. Good job, Sam. Guys, I have a really cool story that I came across yesterday that I wanted to get to today before we move on to some science news and other stuff like that. Service dog calls 911 and saves owner from fire. Did you guys hear about this?
No, that's not.
A blind woman's life was saved on Thursday morning when her Philadelphia home caught fire. The woman's service dog, Yolanda, alerted. Let's go to screen share so we can get a picture of this beautiful dog.
What's the dog's name?
Hero. This life-saving hero, Yolanda. There she is. She alerted emergency services by calling 911 and then dragged her human outside. The 60-year-old had a specialized phone for Yolanda to call 911, which is just what she did before getting them both outside to safety. Firefighters were able to contain the fire, and emergency responders brought the woman to a hospital to be treated for minor smoke inhalation. This dog saved her owner. Enough damage was caused to displace the pair, so they are now staying in temporary lodgings. But did you guys know that service dogs have a special doggy phone that they can use to call 911? I was unaware of that.
No, I didn't know
that. Because before I read the specialized part, he was like, he's dialing the phone.
You know what the most surprising part of the story is?
What?
Before you did the screen share, I really expected that Yolanda would be a black lab.
Racist.
Wow.
Sorry.
Racist.
Come on, that's a... The dog saved someone.
You're like Trump. You're just always saying outrageous stuff, and we take it the wrong way.
He meant the dog.
Nah, there she is. Well, what do you call that? That's like a yellow lab or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
Golden lab, I guess you would say.
Golden lab.
Retriever or something, yeah. Labrador retriever, right?
That dog better be getting a lot of treats.
I know. Look at it right here. They're like, here, just take the whole bag.
Take the whole bag, Yolanda.
Enjoy.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty good. Sam, you wanted to move into science news?
We can do just that. We got news from the science front. I've decided to close out our Pluto. We've been on it ever since it was near it as it went by. Well, we got this from LA Times. It was just like we practiced New Horizons flawless Pluto flyby. So what we're looking at now is as it's going on to the other side, it's going on further into the Kepler belt. I'm going to skip part of this because it goes over what we've already known. But it's going to continue on into the Kepler belt. It says we've seen some of the images. It's going to take quite some time for us to get all of the images in. But scientifically, this data set for Pluto will have to wait for decades. We're not going back to Pluto anytime soon. But they found, like I said, a lot of the images and the similar. You can argue two ways. Some people are automatically saying there's structures on Pluto. I think it's a bit premature to say that. But they also have found some of the strange things that do look like structures on a planet that didn't have the same history in formations as, say, Mars did, based on its location. So it's interesting. It says the first batch of pictures arrived at 2:32, but it's going to take quite some time for them to get all of them because they're coming in at 1,000 to 4,000 bits per second, and it's about the speed of a computer from 20 years ago. But it's coming in, and they're going to continue using it to search out further in the Kepler belt, and the Kuiper belt, I should say. So I think it's going to be interesting. That closes out our following of Pluto here, but I will definitely keep everybody abreast of the new pictures as they come in, especially as they process them and digitize them into what they really look like. Because, as you guys know, it tends to be rather grainy, but the computer knows how to put it together in time. And that all takes time, but that's what's going on with it. They're going to continue using it, and I guess they have some way of steering it. If not, it's going to die a very cold, lonely death out there. But it'll be interesting to see how long it can continue sending things back and what other objects we find. Maybe this will put to rest if there is what that other planetary body is they think is past Pluto, that they're calling another dwarf planet. Maybe we'll get a good look at it. Hoping.
Awesome. Hey, Kyle, last week we were doing the awesome Backlash special. In science news, we got cut off when the power went out at your house where we were hosting the show, and I brought up this article about the impossible rocket drive actually works and could get to the moon in 4 hours. Kyle, did you hear about that?
Yeah,
I wish you were here for.
I didn't hear that 4-hour number, but I have heard that, yeah, it's like some sort of experiment that seemed to create propulsion, and so now they think they could use it for propulsion in space.
Yeah, it said it could get to the moon in like 4 hours. The drive is capable of producing thrust several times greater than even a photon rocket. It can get to Mars within 70 days, or Pluto, which Sam just did a great job covering, within 18 months. So imagine that, Sam. And a trip to Alpha Centauri, which would take tens of thousands of years to reach right now, could be reached in just under 100 years. So I mean, it's you know they relate it to the Star Trek Enterprise and all that cool stuff that I know Kyle likes. Kyle, do you think that? I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, my understanding is it would be almost like, what's it called in Star Trek? It's called like a skip drive or something like that, where it just kind of like pushes you. There's no jet stream behind it or anything like that. It's like all internal, right?
Yeah, it says it's been linked to the impulse drive in Star Trek's vessel of choice, the Enterprise. Starship Enterprise, the impulse drive.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. And I mean,
now, how close are they to actually getting this to work?
Not like, even.
When do they think that we could actually see this happen? Any hint at it, D-Lake?
You know, it's one of those ongoing things. The scientists, I mean, are still trying to break through. I mean, there's parts of this where they're saying we don't really understand exactly how it works, but it seems to be working.
Yeah, like defies physics.
Kyle, just to bring us full circle, we didn't hear anything about space travel, space exploration, or anything like that in the first GOP debate. Do you think that we will hear anything about NASA or space programs moving forward in any of these debates, or do you think that people are going to shy away from, talking about the moon like Newt Gingrich? What do you think?
I wish they would talk about it, but I know they're not going to.
Yeah. I wish they would have brought the veterans up and space travel and carbon emissions a little bit more, but go ahead.
I wanted to before we got too far away from like pictures of other planets. Have you guys seen these pictures of apparently a woman on Mars?
No.
The stupidest thing ever. It was trending on Facebook today. Look up. My computer's being stupid. So if you look, I think it's trending on Facebook right now. It was like woman on Mars. It's the lamest thing ever. It's like it's nothing, but it's funny that that's like what they have to do to get people interested in the Mars lander program. Trying to look for it. You find it?
Yeah. It's one of these, when we had Will Ferrara on, I forgot the terminology that they use when, you see whatever you want in the shapes. It's like a...
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's Bigfoot.
That was trending, though, on Facebook today. It's like, really?
There's Bigfoot. Or rock shaped like Bigfoot.
clearly.
Oh, I've seen that before. Is that the one that you mean,
I
Kyle?
think it's a different picture. Look up in past 24 hours.
Uh, search
I think
tools. Time. Past 24 hours.
yeah, there you go. That's it.
Oh, more like a dress she's got on or something. Oh
I
yeah, you
guess.
can sort of see some cleavage. Oh, that's definitely a woman on Mars right there.
Is she?
Let
Do
me
you think
see it
she's
again.
hot? Do you think the
Yeah, I mean,
Mars
it looks
woman's
like
hot?
she's cascading down the side of the mountain. The funny thing is, she never moves. Yeah, she's just right there. No, yeah, there she is. Is that Princess Leia? I don't know.
I find her attractive,
Yeah,
personally.
she's pretty hot. I wish it wasn't so grainy.
Are you transplanted? Are you going to be in a transplanted relationship, Kyle?
Everything's okay these days, so yeah.
Kyle's transphobic. We
But
can
one of
do
my
that.
favorite comedians is a trans person.
Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah, you made those stickers at
Jeff
Sticker
is
Junkie.
transgender. Send some to them.
At Sticker Junkie, where you can make stickers that say whatever you want, Kyle makes 100 stickers that says BTW, Jeff is transgender.
Yeah.
2 black women.
Good stuff. Check it out.
You should make 100 more stickers that says I heart the woman on Mars.
I heart the woman on Mars. No, woman on Mars, hashtag DTF.
Hashtag what?
DTF.
I don't get
You know,
it.
you guys don't know what DTF means?
BTF?
D. D is in
Oh,
dog.
DTF? Down the
Yeah.
fuck?
Down to boo. Like on Mars.
Yeah, let's play a game. Let's name all the internet acronyms.
Show's going downhill quickly. You see any movies recently?
Give me a second to think about it. How about you?
No, I haven't really. I've been working on my Reggie Waterphone, my machine that I'm building.
Was that that crazy music maker thing you have?
Yeah, that I'm inventing and creating. Just been playing with that.
Mm-hmm.
Watching CSI because Megan likes CSI.
You are the inventor on the show. Last weekend I binge watched the rest of Orange Is the New Black. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I recently was shopping at Target, and I bought X-Men
Man's
Days of
Walmart.
Future Past, the Rogue cut, the Rogue edition.
Oh, you know what? I just recently, the other day, I watched the Mallrats director's cut for the first time. I did watch that.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well,
It's cool.
the funny thing about the Rogue edition is, they put back in the scenes with Rogue in there that were completely unnecessary and not needed. And like,
Really?
I love when you watch a special edition. It's like, hey, we put back all these scenes of Rogue that we cut from the theatrical, and now you know why.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, there's reasons, like, the director's cut isn't that good. Like, a lot of times they drag on.
There was 1 or 2 extra little tidbit things that were pretty cool. That were in there, real minor stuff. It also includes a theatrical edition and some special features. So, and I didn't have the theatrical, so now I got that, and it comes with some extra, 9-part documentary and some commentary and some other cool stuff. I don't know. I like buying special edition things.
It's always
I'm
fun.
fancy.
So what's up with what's his name? The new one, Ryan Reynolds.
Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool, because Deadpool was in the Wolverine movie, right? But he was like totally
No,
different.
that wasn't Deadpool.
That was Deadpool, I thought.
It was, but it wasn't. Like, I don't know how to explain it to you. It's like he had the same name, but none of that storyline, none of what happened in there was anywhere near the character in the comic books. Okay, he's known as the Merc with the mouth, and they sewed his mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that.
Wait, so his mouth was never really sewed shut?
No, he's a wisecracking Merc with the mouth, the character in the comic books. He was created by Rob Liefeld, a guy from Image that started working with Marvel. He's basically, at that time they were making new characters. He was like an amalgam of all the best characters. Like, he's kind of like Spider-Man. He's a wisecracking, sort of pseudo crime fighter. His costume looks like Spider-Man. He carries an arsenal of guns like the Punisher. He's got a messed up face like Spawn. Uh, he was just like this amalgam of characters, but then he sort of broke out, and they found cool and fun ways to use him. I think this movie is going to actually be pretty
So what was with
spectacular.
like the robot brain version in the Wolverine movie? What was that then?
That was an amalgam of an amalgam. That was like them saying like, oh, he got his healing factor from Wolverine, and he was X-23 or something. I mean, no, that's not the comic books, dude. They took like another character and made his character like that character, and like that's just not the way you do it.
So like, there's no connection to X-Men then? They just
There
made
is
that
a
up?
connection, but there is a connection to the X-Men, and in the new movie, it's going to feature Colossus. And you can see on my page right here an image of Colossus, one of the famous X-Men. And you remember he was totally underused in the X-Men movies. But it looks like he's got a big part of this. Another X-Men, Nagasonic Teenage Warhead, is in the movie, and she looks cool.
And so, all right, so he had a ton of cancer, and then
Yeah, okay, so he had a ton of cancer. They're going to try to take it out of him, give him superpowers, and that's closer to the real story. And in the trailer to the trailer, they have Ryan Reynolds making fun of his previous being Deadpool in the previous movie, and he's like, from the studio that inexplicably sewed his mouth shut. But here's the thing, Deadpool, the character, crosses the fourth wall, so he knows he's a character inside a comic book, and like he's going to be doing like he knows he's a character in a movie, and that people are in the movie theater watching him, so he's going to be doing this. He's going to be doing like look at the camera, wink and smile, Ferris Bueller type shit because
like
he's crossed,
fucking Zach Morris.
yeah, because he's
like,
crossed over the fourth dimension or fourth wall, whatever.
He'd be like, freeze frame. So I gotta kill these three guys and just start talking to the camera, and everybody's like frozen.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be a big part of it. But
That's
okay, yeah, I got to sit down with Kyle and do a whole like history of Deadpool type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see it. It looks good. It looks kind of weird. So he's dead though.
I don't know if he's all the way dead. Maybe he is.
Like a zombie.
Have to see how they do it.
He's like Ben Carson.
But he can't be killed. Like you could cut off his head, shoot him, do all the stuff to him, and he just like regenerates and like pulls himself back together.
That's pretty fancy. All right, I'll see it. I'll see it.
There's that one part in the trailer where he gets shot through the leg. He's like, "What the fuck?" It's like a hole in his leg. Yeah, so that just heals over.
It's kind of a creepy character.
Mm.
It's got like
anyway, Sam, face. It seemed like we totally lost Sam on that one. He's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." But have you seen anything good lately, Sam?
I lucked out yesterday, and I'll be lucking out tonight. Aerosmith came within walking distance, just about, of my house. So I got to see Aerosmith yesterday, and I must say, you walk away after seeing Aerosmith remembering Joey Kramer, their drummer, has to be one of the most underrated drummers ever. And just on.
I don't know. Does he have two arms, or does he only have one arm like the drummer from Def Leppard?
No, it's not Joe Elliott, Joey Kramer. No, actually, Joey Elliott, that's the singer anyway. But yes, Kramer rocked it. It was very, very. The whole show was really good. I was impressed.
Don't they not have alcohol though?
They what?
Don't they not have alcohol at Aerosmith shows? I've heard that.
Oh no, they had beer. You just had to wait through hellacious lines to get it. But yeah, they had it.
Well, that's good.
I think they did a shot before the show, but it was good. They did a lot of a lot of older stuff, a lot of newer stuff. They mixed it up well. Many people know I'm not a real big fan of bands that rely only on their old stuff. So it was good to see that wasn't the case with Aerosmith. They pretty much were honest with their whole catalog. And tonight I am going to see KMFDM in Cleveland. It'd be like my 6th time seeing them. They come around frequently. Very excited about that. If you don't know who KMFDM is, by all means look them up. Absolutely amazing band. One of the originators of mixing other styles of music with electronic, and female singers. Excellent band. So I'm going there tonight, and if I get any video or whatever, I'll make sure I post it.
Have you heard? You just reminded me of this story. Somebody was telling me this. I haven't even looked it up, but apparently there was a story somewhere on the internet that this guy went into a bar and just kept playing Boys Are Back in Town over and over and over again on the jukebox until another guy beat him up.
What?
Well, I didn't say that you should listen to Aerosmith and KMFDM only for the next, day or
No, it just reminded me of that when you were saying like bands who rely on their old stuff. I just imagine like Aerosmith like, all right, for the 5th time, this is Sweet Emotion again.
Yeah, no, I was very happy that they didn't do that. They spanned their whole career. They did some of the stuff that they were smart. They did a few things that are just not on the radio. They did Toys in the Attic, for instance.
This is a song from the Armageddon soundtrack.
Unfortunately, they did do that, but it's got to be my least favorite Aerosmith song ever. But yeah, it was good to see a band that still sounded good, that's been around for a while. I don't think they sound necessarily as youthful as Judas Priest did, but Judas Priest is almost a freak of nature how well they sound. But it was good. It was definitely worth seeing, and like I said, I'm looking forward to KMFDM tonight too. That'll be amazing.
Sweet. Yeah.
I actually have to jump off to get ready for that show. I'm going to grab a nap and then go. But I wanted to thank everyone for listening. Please find me at The Correct Views on YouTube. I'm also on Tumblr. You'll find me. I'm the only person on Tumblr.
Same as a woman on Facebook.
And Planet Infowars. Listed under Kaylin, and we put it under Christelle's name on Facebook. And, yes. Kyle D-Lake, thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting. And friends, don't tune out because they've got all kinds of insanity for you.
Yeah, we got one or two more things, but thanks for being on today, Sam. Great job with the science news and your stories and your commentary. Excellent.
Find Sam at CorrectViews69 on AOL Instant Messenger.
At Big X, Little X, Correct Views, Little X, Big X at Hotmail. No.
Pour juice on your chin.
CorrectViews.tripod.com.
Kyle, something I found entertaining yesterday. Times Square, a Times Square Spider-Man. You know the people that dress up as characters in Times Square?
Yeah, so he'd be like Arachnid Man or something.
Yeah, well, he's Spider-Man, but I guess he can't be Spider-Man. He's a Spider-Man. He gets into a real fight in front of Toys R Us. He got into a fight with a heckler, a guy that was saying a lot of racist stuff, saying that
Spider-Man?
You're Muslims, go back to your country, you're going to blow up Times Square. That's what the heckler was saying, so Spider-Man got into a fight with the guy.
Spider-Man's not Muslim. Who's that guy?
That's the heckler. Spider-Man's fighting the heckler.
What's he wearing?
He's wearing black shirt and black pants. Get him, Spider-Man! Get him!
Is that what they're yelling?
Yeah, I don't have the sound on, but everyone's like, come on, Spider-Man! You can do it, Spider-Man! Get him, Spider-Man! Go, Spider-Man, go!
Awesome. Good for Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's just, trying to do the right thing. With great power comes great responsibility, Kyle.
Yeah, just keep your shit together, Spider-Man, when you're at the bar and some guy keeps playing Boys Are Back in Town over and over again.
All right, Kyle. Well, I think that's all I have, too. I'm D-Lake for Prez, David Lake. You can find me on YouTube at David Lake with the Captain America shield. And, I don't know, find me various places. Just look up The Media Speaks. If you don't find me on the internet, then you don't know how to use the internet.
Yeah, you're using the internet wrong. The Media Speaks on the internet.
There you go. All right, everybody, have a great day.